Okay, another section of the Qualcomm you'll be working with on a regular basis will be the message section. You'll have an icon show up at the top. Tells you you've got a message waiting that hadn't been read. And press messages. This is just a message to the owner-operators, so company drivers, that really won't have any effect. I suggest go ahead and delete these messages right off the bat. That way they're not in your way. And all I have left in here is my load for today. Alright, your older messages will appear down below. I've already cleaned out all of my old messages, so there's nothing left in here. I suggest I always take and go ahead and write down my information on a notepad. Have it ready, because you're going to have it to carry into a shipper to get your load picked up. Load headers, pickup, delivery point. On the messaging part of the Qualcomm system, always remember, when you start your load, you'll send a reply. Make sure to scroll down and fill in the empty trailer you're taking. Send it in. And yes, back to the inbox. Same thing on pickup. Reply, arrived or departed. Arrived, and once again you'll enter the trailer. This is to keep up with the inventory on trailers. It makes a lot of difference if you end up dropping out a load and having the right number on the load ID. Now, when you arrive at your final destination for the drop, the reply will just be a simple arrived and departed. No longer will you have the trailer number on it. Okay. A few more things about the Qualcomm. Sending messages back to dispatch. Normally the free form. That's for just short messages on the way or whatever else you need to freehand. Okay. Under the compose section of the e-logs, you'll find several options under here. Driver hour service request, customer information. You'll find that in your inbox with the code right here. ATA, TGA happens to be mine. Sending that in a few minutes, you should have directions to the customer back with you. Breakdown. After getting in a safe location and putting out your triangles, fill out your breakdown forms. It'll ask for tractor number, trailer number, where you are located, will the delivery be late, And under the remarks section would be, say, I-85, mile marker 44, northbound. So the repair can find you. Then call your dispatcher. Accident information is pretty much self-explanatory. Load and unload delays. In most incidents with customers, the amount of time starts from the time that you're scheduled to arrive. Not the time that you actually got there, but the time that you are scheduled to load. Say you got a 3 o'clock load after you've been there for 90 minutes and nothing's happening. It doesn't look like you're going to get out in the 2-hour window. Send in your delay time. Same thing if you're unloading. It's usually given a 2-hour window from the time you're scheduled. If 90 minutes and it doesn't look like you're going to be out in 2 hours, send your delay. Odometer reading. Every Monday morning, fill in your odometer reading and send it in. If not, you'll hear from Miss Cheryl. Time off macro is one that a lot of people have trouble with. When you fill in the date, 6-19-18, fill in the full amount of time. Approximate time 1700. Return date 6. Approximate time 0700. There's nothing special there. I always just use an X and send. Messages to safety. If you have a problem with say your hours of service, you've got a incident with a shipper where there may have been words exchanged, those kind of problems, send safety a message and let them know. And that pretty much covers it. These lower messages are the begin trip, picking up and dropping off, will all be covered in your replies to your pre-assigned load. Okay, this is just a short course on using the Qual Comm and mainly the electronic logging section of the Qual Comm. Okay, go to the home screen, press login. Top line will be your first initial, and followed by your last name. The second line will be the last 6 digits of your social security number. Once you've done that, press OK. And the next screen you see will be unassigned driver time. Always press no. Okay, after logging in, go back to your home screen. Hours of service. It will place you on duty to start with. Change that, off duty, and an OK. On the home screen, you'll find several things. One will be your notification for messages, your amount of hours available to drive before taking your 30-minute break, and hours to be gained the next day and the second day. The summary section will tell you have a full 70 hours. Before you ever leave, make sure you have the 70 hours after taking a break. If there's a problem, contact your dispatcher. The graph section, if you're in a DOT stop, normally that's what they're going to ask for. They're going to look at your day logs on a day-by-day basis. And by scrolling backwards, the previous days will show up. Your day log will give you your current status and what you've been doing during that time period. I always kind of look over it at the end of the day to make sure you haven't had a big on-duty part time or any problems there. 8 days, that'll give you your total miles driving and your hours driven that day. As you can see on this one, this was on Friday when I was on my way back in, and from there I went off for the weekend. Approve. That approves all unapproved logs in the system. That goes back to the part that I was speaking about. Go back every day and look over your logs, make sure there's nothing abnormal. If that's all okay, press approve all. The last section on here is for the load ID, start and end. Normally I just put the load ID and the different trailers I've hooked to during that load. You'll usually never have over two. One will be an empty, maybe you're taking into a customer. Second trailer is you've dropped your empty and picked up a loaded trailer and leaving back out. Couple of hints on the log itself. Anytime you stop, first thing you need to do is go to off duty. You save time, save your clock. A few minutes here and there through the week may make a difference of 30-45 minutes at the end of the week. Some drivers have a tendency to forget about doing this, and the next thing you know, they've run 30 or 40 minutes off of the clock. To change the status, you'll go into this section. Most of the logs now have a split on their on duty section and off duty driving time. This happens to be one of the older units, but the principles are still basically the same.